Hello, good evening, good morning, and welcome to the Fanatics of Film. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Ben.
And I am Joe.
And we're talking about Walking Dead here.
But, I mean, those ethereal, lucid dream sequences, were nicely done. I just felt like it was this big send-off for Rick, and then kind of cop out at the end where he just somehow miraculously survives the explosion. I don't know, it was interesting.
I couldn't help but smile a little bit when he found himself on the helicopter and being given the IV and being saved. I mean, Jadis totally kind of redeemed herself in my opinion. I feel like I mean she's kind of a bastard, kind of a biatch, but she didn't end up killing Gabriel, so I was happy about that because I love Gabriel, and I think I've definitely had mixed feelings about her in general, but she's intriguing to me. Her character's very intriguing.
Her character's very annoying to me, but the good news is she's not going to be in the series either, so I'm pretty sure her character's gone. She's on the plane with Rick, or the helicopter. So,
well, which means that she'll be, when Rick shows up again, which is in these other films that are coming out, she'll be there too, I'm sure.
Now, I wonder why they decided to do this with Rick. Is it that Andrew Lincoln wanted to go back to England and do or work on other projects, or both, or was it the decision of the production to say, hey, we're gonna do this story arc with Rick, and you're gonna be out of it for a few seasons. And
they did this with Fear the Walking Dead because they had to, they wanted to bring Morgan into the mix of Fear the Walking Dead, and they also wanted to bring, so they do the time jump thing, and so obviously at the end of this episode they do a time jump.
Yeah.
Do you think that the next episode we're gonna start with a time jump?
Yeah, I think it's 6.
Wow.
I think it's gonna pick up in that 6 years later.
Wow.
I mean, maybe they'll do a little bit of the aftermath of losing Rick. It's hard to say. I guess we'll just have to tune in next week, because the preview for the next week's episode definitely made it seem like it was in that 6 year in the future time period.
For a while, in Fear the Walking Dead, they were showing both timelines. So they would literally jump back and forth on several episodes, and I just stopped watching it. Sorry, everybody. I just stopped watching it because I stuck it out through season 3, and that kind of sucked, and then it ended up getting really good. It ended up getting really good by the end of, season 2, and then season 3 ended up getting really good. Anyway, and then it just kind of wasn't good anymore. And when you see these, and the problem with this is just my personal opinion, but with these time jumps, I get it. It's shock value at first. It's this big, oh my gosh, oh, this is so-and-so 10 years later, or whatever it is, however many years later. But at the same time, and so then you have to fill in the blanks later. And I get it. I mean, it's great. It's great. It works as shock value initially, but to me, it's kind of cheap. What do you think?
I think, second to think.
Well, because then and then if they try to fill if they try to fill in the blanks later, the problem with that is that that person is going to survive. So that they're going to survive, which is fine, I guess. But it's you're giving away stuff. So I don't know.
I don't mind anachronistic time, or what is it called? Nonlinear time structure.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind nonlinear time structure at all, depending on the context. Shows like Lost did it well, but it's been there right from the beginning. Shows like Arrow, which would flash back to the past, and now they're flashing forward to the future. I mean, that's fine, because that's what they've established as being how they tell their story. But The Walking Dead doesn't do that. So if they start doing that, they might, I don't know, because they never did episodes where it was some characters you'd get a flashbacks to the, a single episode flashback to their origin story, like Michonne, but they didn't do that for Glenn. They didn't do that for Maggie and her family, and it's just not a common trope. So if they maybe do one episode that bridges the gap between the two timelines, the present and 5-6 years in the future, That's fine. If they made it a regular thing, I think it would be distracting because that's just not how they tell their story. They're mostly linear. So, again, it's all context for me. If I started watching a show that never did that, and you get 3 or 4, 8, 9 seasons in, and they started jumping around with their timelines like that, that would annoy me.